next poem I wrote about a month before everything came up in the news around the bullying of queer youth, and you know, I think that had I written it a little bit later, it wouldn't be such a light poem as it is. I was writing it with my friends who are elementary school teachers in mind, and wanting to have something that I could possibly go read in their classrooms, because as you all see, none of this so far would ever work there. And but anyway, my friend and I were talking a lot about the bullying and all that's been up in the news about that, and how there's so much focus on bullies and the youth that are being bullied, and so little focus on the institutions that are not creating safe spaces, and the heterosexism and heteronormativity that is in our schools. Like, we were just talking about it in detail for, like, you know, trip. We were driving through Ohio and Indiana, and just, you know, down to the things of, like, you know, teachers not telling, you know, students saying, oh, that's so gay, like it's that gay, bad, and teachers not being taught when they're going through college of how to mediate that sort of situation, and not just to the point of saying, maybe you don't say that, we don't like saying that, but actually saying, let's sit down and talk about what that word means, and having real dialogue about it, and just creating spaces for people of all sexualities and gender expressions. And because, you know, really at school age, we're not talking about someone's, kids aren't getting bullied for their sexuality, they're getting bullied for whatever gender expressions are coming out of them. So that said, this poem is titled A Letter to the Playground Bully, from Andrea, age 8.5. Maybe there are cartwheels in your mouth. Maybe your words will grow up to be gymnasts. Maybe you have been kicking people with them by accident. I know some people get a whole lot of rocking in the rocking chair, and the ones who don't sometimes get rocks in their voice boxes become slingshots. Maybe you think my heart looks like a baby squirrel. But guess what? You absolutely miss when you tell the class I have head lice, because guess what? I 100% absolutely do not have lice, and even if I do, it is a fact that head lice prefer clean heads over dirty ones. So I am clean as a whistle on a teapot. My mother says it is totally fine if I blow off steam. As long as I speak in an octave, my kindness can still reach. My kindness knows mermaids never ever miss their legs in the water, because there were better ways to move through an ocean than kicking. So guess what? If I ever have my own team, I'm picking everyone first. Even the worst kids and the kids with the stutters like the skipping records, because I know all of us are scratched, even if you cannot hear it when we speak. My mother says most people have heartbeats that are knocking on doors that will never ever open, and I know my heart is a broken freezer chest. That's why I can't keep anything frozen. So no, I am not always crying. I am just thawing outside the lines, and even if I am always crying, it is a fact that salt is the only reason everything floats so good in the Dead Sea. And just because no one ever passes notes to me doesn't mean I'm not super duper. In fact, my super duper might be a buoy or a paper boat the next time your nose is stuck up the river, because it is a fact that our hearts stop every time we sneeze, and some people's houses have too much dust. Some people's fathers are like attics. I've heard attics have leaky stairs. You know, if I lived in a house that had an attic, I think I'd nightmare a burglar in my safety chest. And maybe I'd look for rest in the sticks and stones. So much punch, but where he's drunk on his own fist. But the only drunk I ever known was sleeping in the alley behind my church, and Jesus turned water into his wine, so even God has his bad days. But on your bad days, couldn't you just say, hey, I'm having a bad day? Instead of telling me I'm stupid or poor, or that I dress like a boy, because maybe I am a boy and a girl. Maybe my name is Andrea Andrews. So what? It is a fact that bumblebees have hair on their eyeballs, and people also should comb through everything they see. Like an anchorman is not a sailor. Like the clouds might be a pillow fight. Like my mother said, every bird perched on a telephone wire decides the direction of its flight by the conversations running through its beats. So I know everything we speak can make hurricanes in other people's veins chains or shine their shiny shine. So maybe sometime, if somebody would sit beside me on the bus, I could say, guess what? It is a fact that manatees have vocal cords, even though they don't have ears. And Beethoven played music even when he couldn't hear. And I know every belt that has hit someone's back is still a belt that was built to hold something up. And it is a fact that Egyptians slept on pillows made of stone. But it's not hard for me to dream that maybe one day you will write me back, like the day I wrote the lightning bug to say I smashed my mason jar and I threw away the lid. I didn't want to take a chance that I'd grow up to be a war. I want to be a belly dance or a pogo stick, or the fingerprints the mason leaves in the mortar between the bricks to prove that he was here, that he built a roof over someone's head to keep the storm from their faith. My mother says that's why we all were born. And I think she's right. So write back soon. Sincerely yours.